back to the corner. If you knew how much impact you had in your own life, if you knew the repercussions of your words, of your actions, you would have chosen differently. There are lots of things that we say lightly when we have conversations with people, when we have conversations with ourselves, and we say it lightly, not knowing the power behind what's coming out of our mouths. We think it's okay because we're saying it in a joking way, but it reveals a lot of information about ourselves. You wouldn't talk negatively if you knew that that contributes to your reality. The only reason someone would speak badly, not only about themselves, about someone else, action wise, words wise, is because they are disempowered. They don't know that they have power within them. They don't know that there is something that can shift the world when they move. This is what you can do today. Have you ever done live scripting? If everyone has a phone nowadays, let's say you don't even have a phone, you can get a voice recorder or something like that that's portable, and talk to yourself as if you're being interviewed by someone. Ask yourself, play both the recorder and someone that's being recorded. And the recorder will ask you, well, how did you do this? And you answer in real time as if it has happened already, but I want you to record your voice because it's interesting. In the beginning, you will see yourself slip up and talk in the past, and you will start saying things, and I want you to correct yourself every time you talk in the past, every time you talk in wanting, because moving forward, change the word wanting to I can't have. So let's say you want your own restaurant. I want my own restaurant. Moving forward, you're going to replace it with I cannot have my own restaurant right now. Because that is essentially what you're saying when you say I want. But I want you to verbally say those things. It's not enough to just write them down or say it in your head. Record it and listen to it back. Act as if you're being interviewed and say, this is what the script would look like. My restaurant is doing so well, and it's interesting that you asked me about it because people think it's hard to do, but for me, it doesn't really feel like work because it's my lifelong passion, and I've had this restaurant now for a couple of years. It started in July 5th. Believe it or not, July 5th. Today, 10 years ago, is when it started. And I mean, it's my first successful business, and it allowed me to learn so much about what it takes to run a restaurant and also do something that is so impactful. Do you see a difference? This is why I think we have to utilize our voice, hear it, because even when I was talking right now, talking about the restaurant, I truly felt embodied as a restaurant owner. Now, if I said I want, it separates me so much from the embodiment of it that I can't even comprehend what it would feel like to be a restaurant owner. There's something very impactful about specifically hearing your own voice. That's why to be honest with you, that's why I have a hard time with audiobooks sometimes. Because if it was done in my own voice, you too just receive the information better when it's coming from your own voice versus someone else's. I just had an idea, like for a second I was like, oh my god, this is actually so brilliant to do. I wanted to say as well, when you decide on a certain path, certain manifestation, and then you eat every day, there is a point when you're consistent every day. I would say about maybe 7 days in, 8 days in, you say to yourself, isn't this enough? Maybe I can take one day break or whatever. All of these things are disguised as doubt because you haven't received enough validation for you to keep moving forward. But you don't want to do that because this is the space where people hang out in the waiting room. And I have a belief that we all would push forward if we knew the repercussion of giving something momentum and pausing. I don't think we understand what we're doing energetically to ourselves when we start something and stop. We have fragments. When we do that, we create these fragments of our focus, of our energy, and they're just sitting there in the energetic space. And what happens is that weakens our signal, that weakens our ability to reach there faster. So what we're doing is creating more mass in between us and getting us closer and closer tied to the 3D reality. The more we start something and the more we stop doing it, the more immersed we become in this 3D reality, which is the result. The more we believe in the result than the cause. I'm sure if it was like showing us all the past actions that we've done, that we've started and stopped, and If we could only observe the energetic impact of the things that we do, we would all do it differently. We don't have access to that right now, but we can look at our patterns to see how our signal is. Our senses are our superpowers. Our voice, hearing, touch, all of it are superpowers. And, you know, trying to change, as you're beginning to change and building up momentum, you have to remind yourself that you have these superpowers that you can use to get yourself closer to where you want to be. And where you want to be is nowhere different than where you are. But you can use your senses to remind yourself that. And to also remember that everything has a cause and effect. So when you start something, if you quit it, then you weaken your signal. Now, does it mean that you can't ever quit on something? This is where honesty comes in, because of course you can outgrow something, but can you really outgrow something if you haven't seen the manifestation of it yet? It depends, because let's just say, if the manifestation was murky to begin with, then I would say you would see the switch in what you want to do and it would be fine. I'll give you an example. Let's say someone goes to a software engineering bootcamp and the only idea that they had is, okay, I'm going to graduate, I'm going to become a software engineer, because they don't have the perspective of what else exists, what else can be done with coding, with knowing how to code. So by the end of it, if you decide that, you know what, I'm going to do something adjacent with it, you have to figure out and be honest with yourself. And is it because I'm not really interested in software engineer, or is it because I'm scared? Or is it because, it's coming from fear or lack that I'm making the switch? Or is this coming from more understanding of myself and my skill alignment? So this process is going to take a whole lot of honesty every second of checking in. And this is why I say you better forget about alcohol. You better forget about any drugs. There is no way you can be honest with yourself with drugs. There just isn't. You'll have moments where you have this deep, and then it disappears, and then it comes back, and then it disappears. It makes your signal so weak because you're relying on someone else. And with cold, when something is going up and down, I'll say it's zip zaps your energy field. The commitment to grow into your manifestation requires your voice every day and rewriting, using your power as a creator to rewrite scenarios that are happening, saying it out loud, hearing it back. I have been dropping videos every day with exercises. This is a commitment to you. If you really are following along in this journey, 30 days in, you will not be able to recognize where you're at, who you are, who you become.